I welcome all the IPC second year students to today's webinar session. Today, once again, Seema Madam, PGT TSMS Ramayampet, is going to discuss about important long answer questions from the chapter Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is very important both for plants as well as for students. By means of photosynthesis only, the entire universe is getting the food material, and from this chapter we will get one or two essay questions. Two important essay questions are there. I will discuss those two questions. As you are aware, the second wave of corona pandemic is progressing across the nation. Because of that only, the education institutes are closed, and once again we resumed the online classes. We request on behalf of the webinar team, we request all the students to follow the COVID safety protocols. Always use mask, maintain social distance, and as and when you go out, please carry sanitizer along with you so that you can maintain personal hygiene. By following the COVID safety protocols and staying at home as much as possible and practicing the important questions discussed by all the webinar team members, coordinators, resource persons, we wish you perform well in the upcoming examinations that are going to be commenced from May 1st. At this juncture, I take this opportunity to thank our additional director, Srimati Usharani Madam, Usharani, Joint Director, Sarojini Garu, and this webinar host, Srimati K.V. Shalja Garu, and my co-coordinator, Sri Naveen Garu, and all the resource persons who are helping us in conducting these programs. Now I request Seema Madam to commence the session.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And I thank.
Seema Madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, sir. I thank Shailaja Madam, the host of our session. Thank you, Madam, for giving me this opportunity. So, children, let us start our today's session. And today we are going to discuss, that is Botany second year, LAQs of chapter 4. The name of the chapter is Photosynthesis in Higher Plants, part 1. Because children, in this session, we will discuss one long answer, which is in our topic, Photosynthesis in Higher Plants. Children, this is a small change in our blueprint, which we discussed in our first session. That is, I told you all that from enzymes, we will be getting two short answers. That is very short answer questions. But actually, there was a small mistake. So please correct that. That is, from enzymes, you will be getting one short, very short answer question, and everything is same. All the other pattern is absolutely same. But again, in the last chapter, microbes in human welfare, I told you in the earlier session that you will be getting 1 2-mark question, but you are going to get 2 2-mark questions. So please make a note. From enzymes, you will be getting 1 2-mark question, and in microbes in human welfare, you will be getting 2 very short answer questions. Apart from that, everything in the blueprint which we discussed in our first session is absolutely correct, and you need not worry. Only point, again I'm repeating, is enzymes, 2-mark questions, 1 2-mark question will be coming, whereas in microbes in human welfare, 2 2-mark questions will be coming. Now, let us go ahead with the class today. So, the question which we are going to discuss today is, in the light of modern researchers, describe the process of electron transport, cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. So, children, to know actually what is happening in the process of photosynthesis, we need to discuss all these. Now, whatever question is in front of you, you need to know that we are discussing about light reaction. We are going to discuss light reaction. In the next session, we will be discussing about dark reaction. So whatever, now you all be clear that whatever we are going to discuss now is related to light reaction. Now, once again, let us discuss the question. In the light of modern researchers, describe the process of electron transport in cyclic and non-cyclic. So we have to understand that there are two types of phosphorylations, that is photophosphorylations, that is cyclic and non-cyclic. Let us know in detail. Photosynthetic pigments are present in the thylakoid membrane organized into two complexes, that is photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Now, in this entire session, whenever this PS1 comes, you must remember that we are discussing about photosystem 1. Next, we are going to discuss about photosystem 2, that is PS2. So, I'll be telling as PS1, PS2. Coming to Telugu terms, we will be discussing about the Telugu terms also in detail, but we'll be discussing in a later on session. That means now in the next class only. Now, electron transport system. Now, what is this electron transport system? Nothing but electrons are being transported. That's all. Electrons are being transported. Now, what is this electrons being transported? Electrons will transport in two ways. That is non-cyclic electron transport and cyclic electron transport. In Telugu, you call this non-cyclic electron transport as achakriya Kanti phosphorylate. Electron transport is electron ravana. Non-cyclic means achakriya electron ravana. Cyclic means chakriya electron ravana. So I hope children you are clear with this. Electron transport means electron ravana. Indulo you are having two types, non-cyclic electron transport and cyclic electron transport. Non-cyclic means achakriya electron ravana. Cyclic means chakriya electron ravana. Now let us go in detail. Now what is this non-cyclic electron transport? Non-cyclic electron transport means, first of all, be clear that electrons are being transported. Non-cyclic means they do not come to the beginning point. They do not come to the point where they are started. That is, they do not come back, cycle back to the original point. So, first of all, you should remember that in this electron transport, two photosystems are involved, that is photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Now this photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 are involved in the non-cyclic electron transport. In the starting point of photosynthesis, reaction center of photosystem 2 absorb the light and oxidize to the loss of one electron. So first of all, children, you should remember, first of all, so children, in this non-cyclic electron transport, two photosystems are involved, that is photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. First, we are going to discuss about photosystem 2. Now, you might be questioning, what is this P680 over here? P680 is nothing but the wavelength where the the sunlight energy will be absorbed in the form of photons. Now, the electrons from the reaction center, photosystem 2, are transferred to pheophytin. The electrons transfer from pheophytin to plastoquinone, cytochrome, and next to plastocyanin, and finally reach to photosystem 1. This is the first phase of this non-cyclic electron transport. Let us discuss this in the form of our chart. Now, this you can see over here. This is the photosystem 2. As I told you, this photosystem 2 is nothing but P680. Now, children, imagine this central circle is nothing but P680 reaction center. Around this P680 reaction center, you are having accessory pigments. That is nothing but the pigments which also, the chlorophyll pigments only, which will be absorbing the light energy. Now imagine the sunlight is being falling on this photosystem 2 along with the accessory pigments. All the chlorophyll pigments have the capacity to absorb the sunlight. How are they absorbing? In the form of photons. So these chlorophyll pigments are absorbing the sunlight in the form of photons. Now when the chlorophyll pigments are absorbing the sunlight in the form of photons, will the chlorophyll pigment A or the chlorophyll A be normal? No. As it is getting lot of energy, the chlorophyll A will get excited. It will get excited. When it is getting excited, the chlorophyll A will release a pair of electrons, nothing but 2 electrons. 2 electrons is nothing but a pair of electrons. This excited pair of electrons will go to the higher level, that is towards the higher level this side. who is there? A primary acceptor is present. A primary acceptor is present who is accepting the excited electron. That is nothing but pheophytin. As we have discussed over here, see over here, the electrons from the reaction center of photosystem 2, that is P680, are transferred to pheophytin. Pheophytin is nothing but primary electron acceptor. So let us go to the flowchart. Now the primary electron acceptor is nothing but pheophytin. This pheophytin will transfer the electron to PQ, nothing but plastoquinone. Then the pair of electrons are transferred from plastoquinone to cytochrome complex. Now from the cytochrome complex, the electrons are transferred to plastocyanin. So children, this part is nothing but electron transport. Electron ravana we discussed just now, no, that only, that is taking place from this pheophytin or primary electron acceptor till this plastocyanin. The electrons are being transferred step by step. In the meantime, the cytochrome complex will convert the or will help in the formation of the ATP. As you can see over here, the energy for chemiosmotic synthesis of ATP. So here the cytochrome complex, some energy is produced. How? That is the inorganic phosphate combines with adenosine diphosphate to form ATP. As we have discussed all this in our earlier classes, so we can understand that. The main thing which you have to remember when you observe this flow chart is photosystem 2 is absorbing sunlight. It is getting excited, that is chlorophyll A is getting excited and releases a pair of electrons. Primary acceptor is accepting the electrons and the electrons are passed from pheophytin. Children, remember, primary acceptor means who is present over here? pH, pheophytin. So the electrons from pheophytin are transferred to plastoquinone. Then from the plastoquinone, the electrons are transferred to cytochrome complex. And from the cytochrome complex, they are transferred to plastocyanin. And from plastocyanin, they are transferred to photosystem 1. Meanwhile, I also told you that in cytochrome complex, the energy formation will take place, that is ATP formation will take place. How? Inorganic phosphate plus adenosine diphosphate will help in the formation of adenosine triphosphate. Now, the electrons which are reached to this photosystem 1, the same process will take place as in photosystem 2. Now, in photosystem 1, the reaction center is P700 because in photosystem 2, the reaction center was P680. In photosystem 1, the reaction center is P700. Over here also, the chlorophyll A will absorb sunlight. The accessory pigments also will absorb the sunlight and they release the electrons because lot of energy is present in them. They get excited. So they release a pair of electrons. When they are releasing the pair of electrons, similarly, primary acceptor is accepting the electrons. The electrons are transferred to ferredoxin. FD means ferredoxin. And from ferredoxin, the electrons are transferred to NADP plus, that is NADP reductase. In the presence of the enzyme, NADP reductase. Electrons from FD are transferred to NADP plus. So this is the basic non-cyclic electron transport system. We'll just go through the answer, children, from the first to the last. Both photosystem 1 and photosystems are input 2 are involved in the non-cyclic electron transport. In the starting of photosynthesis, reaction center, photosystem 2, that is P680, as I told you, absorbs the light and oxidized to loss of one electron. The electrons from the reaction center of PS2, that is P680 Nm, are transferred to pheophytin. I told you primary electron acceptor, and from pheophytin, that is electrons transfer from pheophytin to PQ, that is plastoquinone, and from plastoquinone to cytochrome. And children, I also told you that near cytochrome, energy is released, that is ADP plus inorganic phosphate, ATP is formed. Next, plastocyanin finally reaches to photosystem 1. In the meantime, reaction center for PS1, that is P700 Nm, absorbs the light and oxidizes to loss of one electron. Transfer of electron from PS1 to ferredoxin, FD, as we discussed just now, children. That is from photosystem 1 to primary acceptor, then FD is nothing but ferredoxin. So this is ferredoxin. Where are we? Yeah, to ferredoxin through different electron carriers. passes the electron from ferredoxin to NADP plus and converted to NADPH. So you are very clear now that in non-cyclic electron transport, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 are involved. And in this process, what is released? One ATP molecule is released and some amount of, the electrons are passed to NADP plus. They are not coming back to photosystem 2. That is why we are calling this as non-cyclic electron transport. Now, in non-cyclic electron transport, electrons transfers from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1 and next to NADP and are converted to NADPH. Let me explain you this point, children. In non-cyclic electron transport system, electrons are being transferred from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1 and then to NADP plus. I hope you understood this point, children. Electrons are transferred from photosystem 2, photosystem 1 and then to NADP plus. Okay. Now, the thylopide membrane difference of redox potential in between the electron carriers induces the electron flow. The electron redox potential, because of this redox potential, the electron flow will be maintained. In non-cyclic electron transport, electrons move in zigzag manner, that is Z scheme. So what is happening in non-cyclic electron transport? If you observe this, the shape of this arrow marks will be like a Z. That's why we are calling this as Z scheme. Non-cyclic electron transport, or we also call it as Z scheme. So I hope, children, you understood this non-cyclic electron transport. If you observe this flow chart, even this is also the non-cyclic electron transport. But you need to understand one major point over here. What is that? In non-cyclic electron transport, we discussed that electrons are getting excited. When electrons are getting excited, that means whenever sunlight is falling on chlorophyll pigment, the chlorophyll pigment is getting excited and it is releasing electrons. How many times or how far will the chlorophyll will get excited and release electrons? Will it keep on producing electrons? Yes, it will be producing electrons to some extent, but photolysis of water. What do you mean by photolysis of water? Photo means light. Lysis means breaking. Photolysis means breaking of water in the presence of light. That is why we are calling it as photolysis of water. Now, when you see this water over here, H2O, it is undergoing the process of photolysis of water and it is releasing a pair of electrons, a pair of protons and half oxygen molecule. Let us know the fate of these products. Fate is nothing but our destination enti. So photolysis of water, when 2 electrons are produced, they are reaching the photosystems. That is photosystem 1, 2. When water is undergoing photolysis of water, 1 pair of electrons are being released and they enter into the photosystem 2. Next, we are telling that oxygen molecule is released. That oxygen molecule is nothing but the byproduct of photosynthesis. When we all studied from our smaller classes, we are releasing out carbon dioxide and taking up oxygen. Who is giving that oxygen? And the plants are giving. So that oxygen, from where are we getting? By this process of photosynthesis. So whenever this water is breaking down, oxygen is released out into the atmosphere. So with this, you are clear. The electrons are entering into the photosystem 2. The oxygen is released into the atmosphere. Now the protons which are left over. Children, these protons play a major role. What are they doing? When I told you during non-cyclic electron transport, the electrons are transferred from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1 and then to NADP plus. This NADP plus is just like that. It needs one proton. It needs protons. So from where that NADP plus is getting the protons means the photolysis of water, whatever protons are released, they go directly towards this NADP plus, convert this NADP plus by combining, that is 2H plus protons, and it gets converted to NADPH plus H plus, or you can simply tell it as NADPH2. So with this, children, non-cyclic electron transport along with photolysis of water is also clear. So splitting of water molecule, I'll just explain once again. That is splitting of water. Photolysis of water means splitting of water molecule in the presence of light. Now, water will produce 3 products. That is a pair of electrons, a pair of protons, and an oxygen molecule. electrons will enter into photosystem 2 because it is continuously releasing electrons. It is getting excited and releasing electrons. So the deficiency is filled up by this photolysis of water. And the pair of the oxygen which is released is entering into the atmosphere as the byproduct of photosynthesis. The protons which are released in the photolysis of water will directly go towards NADP plus. They combine with NADP plus and form NADPH2. This is the entire complete non-cyclic electron transport system. So hope children, you understood this non-cyclic electron transport. Cyclic electron transport is a very small concept. In the word itself, that is in the name itself, you can understand cyclic electron transport means the electrons are pumped back to the photosystem. They are pumped back to the photosystem. One major thing which you have to remember over here is in cyclic electron transport system, only one photosystem is involved. Whereas in non-cyclic electron transport system, two photosystems are involved. In cyclic electron transport system, only one photosystem. So let us read this answer. Photosystem 1 is only present in the stroma lamellae. In the stroma lamellae, membranes lag this photosystem 2 as well as NADP reductase enzyme. So children, keep it in mind, in this process, one photosystem is involved, that is photosystem 1. In this process, NADP is not released, whereas in photosystem 2, that is in a non-cyclic electron transport, we had photosystem 1, we had photosystem 2, NADP plus was released, but over here no NADP plus is released. And in this method, electron transfers from photosystem 1 does not pass on to NADP plus, but is cycled back to photosystem 1 complex through electron transport chain. Photosystem 1 is only involved in the electron transport, and this is called cyclic electron transport. So children, once we will understand this through following this flowchart. So this is cyclic photophosphorylation. In this cyclic photophosphorylation, photosystem 1, that is why we are seeing over here P700. The sunlight is falling on this chlorophyll. The P700 is getting excited. Even the antennae molecules, or we can also tell as accessory pigments, even these are also receiving the sunlight, that is in the form of photons. They pass on the energy to this chlorophyll A, that is P700. It gets excited and it releases a pair of electrons, that is primary electron acceptor. And from the primary electron acceptor, the electrons are passed on to the ferredoxin, and from ferredoxin to plastoquinone, from plastoquinone to cytochrome complex, from cytochrome complex to plastocyanin, and plastocyanin to back photosystem 1. So this is nothing but cycling back the electron to its main original point. From where it originated, the electron is coming back to the point, originated point only. Another small point to be remembered over here is, children, that energy is released at 2 points. Where is that energy released? One is at the ferredoxin point. Wherever the point electron is present near this ferredoxin, over here the energy, that is ATP, is released. Similarly, that is ADP plus inorganic phosphate, ATP. Next one is cytochrome complex. As we have discussed in the non-cyclic for electron transport, cytochrome complex energy is released. Over here also, similarly at cytochrome complex, energy is released. Now, major point which you have to remember when it comes to cyclic electron transport, that only one photosystem is involved. The electron which is getting excited will come back to the photosystem 1. That is why we are calling it as cyclic electron transport. And we are getting 2 ATPs at which points? At ferredoxin point, at cytochrome complex point. Another point to be noted, children, what is not released over here? NADP plus. Sambandham ledu. NADP plus is not released over here. Why NADP plus is not released? Because two photosystems, they are not involved. Only one photosystem is involved, and electron is deviating. No, electron is coming back to photosystem. So there is no question of deviation. There is no question of NADP plus production. That is why this is called as purely cyclic electron transport. Now, photolysis of water. Actually, we discussed this photolysis of water in our previous slides, but once again, let us go through this. The splitting of water in the presence of light and the consequent evolution of oxygen is known as photolysis of water. Nothing but breaking of the water molecule in the presence of light is nothing but photolysis of water. Oxidized P680 accepts the electron by splitting of water for recruiting the electron deficiency. Children, as I told you just now over here, that this electron is formed from this photolysis of water is entering into the P680 to maintain the electron levels, because whenever sunlight is falling, the P680 is getting oxidized and it is releasing electron. So it needs electrons. So who is providing? This photolysis of water is providing electrons continuously to P680. P680 is continuously getting excited, releasing electrons continuously. What is produced? NADPH2 is produced. Next. Water is split into protons, electrons, and oxygen. So children, by now you must tell me what is happening to protons, electrons, and oxygen. Excuse me. What is happening to protons, electrons, and oxygen? Protons are entering or combining with NADP. Electrons are entering into the photosystem 2. Oxygen is released into the atmosphere. So this is nothing but the products of this photolysis of water. Next, oxygen evolving complex is responsible for photolysis of water. Oxygen evolving complex is associated with photosystem 2, which is physically located on inner side of the membrane of the thylakoid. In this process, protons are released into the thylakoid lumen. Children, this equation is nothing but only to tell you, during the photolysis of water, if one molecule of water is undergoing photolysis of water, then how many protons are produced? 2 protons are produced, 2 electrons are produced, and 1 half oxygen molecule is produced. Similarly, if 2 water molecules, then 4 protons, that is 4 protons, 4 electrons, and 1 oxygen molecule. Children, we need to just go through this non-cyclic electron transport for the Telugu medium students. Whoever are a little bit familiar with the Telugu language, let us go through once this non-cyclic electron transport system for them. Usually this non-cyclic electron transport, in Telugu we call it as non-cyclic means achakriya electron ravana. Cyclic, non-cyclic means achakriya electron ravana. Now what do you mean by phosphorylation? What do you mean by photophosphorylation? Photo means kanti. Phosphorylation means what? Producing ATP. What do you mean by phosphorylation? ATP. So kanalalo, what do you mean by kanti samakshamlo? Acarbon phosphate ADP to kalisi ATP ga maradam. ATP ga samshleshana chendadanni we are telling it as phosphorylation. So children, let us go through what do you mean by photophosphorylation is nothing but in photophosphorylation, kanti samakshamlo acarbonous phosphate ADP to kalisi ATP ga samshleshana chendadanni kanti phosphorylation ani antam. Now, if this is taking place in the presence of light, so dini manam emantamu kanti phosphorylation. Next, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by non-cyclic? What is electron transport? We discussed now only that non-cyclic means achakriya, kanti, electron, ravana. Now in this, rendu kanti vyavastalu. That is, what is that rendu kanti vyavastalu? Photosystem 1, photosystem 2. Telugulo emantamu kanti vyavastha PS1, PS2. This achakriya kanti phosphorylation ane prakriya jarugutundi. Now achakriya electron ravanalo rendu ATPlu and NADPHlu release avutayi. What do you mean by this? In this achakriya kanti vyavastha, 2 products are released. What are they? This ATP and NAD. Telugulo kuda we tell them as ATP and NADPH. Daniki Telugulo malli special words em levandi. ATP ane antamu, NADPH2 ane antamu. Now coming to cyclic electron transport. You are telling that as chakriya kanti phosphorylation. Now in this chakriya kanti phosphorylation, how many any kanti vyavastalu, that is photosystem PS1 okkate involve avutundi. So in this photosystem 1 charyavantanga unnapude kanti vyavastha lopala electron ravana chendi kanti phosphorylation jarugutundi. Udrikta chendina electron ante endandi? Till now, I was telling to you one word. The electron is getting excited. The electron is getting excited. I used many times. Now for Telugu students, what do you mean by that electron getting excited? The electron that is from P700, udrikta chendi. Ekkadiki reach avutundi? Primary electron acceptor. It is reaching the primary electron acceptor. Udrikta chendina electron NAD+ కు రవాణా చెందక it will ఎక్కడికి వచ్చేస్తుంది? మళ్ళీ మన PS1 కి వచ్చేస్తుంది. సో మనం ఏమనుకున్నాం ఇక్కడ? ఒక ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ఉద్రిక్త చెందింది అని చెప్పినాం. చెంది అది ఎక్కడికి రావాలి? డైరెక్ట్ గా ఇవన్నీ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేసుకుంటా మళ్ళీ రిటర్న్ ఎక్కడికి వచ్చేయాలి? P700 కి వచ్చేస్తుంది. ఇది NAD+ కి దగ్గర పోతుందా? పోతలేదు. ఒకవేళ NADP+ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళింది అనుకోండి, దెన్ అది నాన్ సైక్లిక్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో ఐ హోప్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ యూ అండర్స్టూడ్. సైక్లిక్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్, నాన్ సైక్లిక్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ మేజర్ తేడా ఒకటేనండి. సైక్లిక్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ లో అయితే ఎలక్ట్రాన్ ఫోటో సిస్టమ్ 2 దగ్గరికి రాదు. ఎక్కడ పోతుంది? ఎలక్ట్రాన్ NADP+ దగ్గర పోతుంది. ఎట్లా? ఫోటో సిస్టమ్ 2 నుంచి ఫోటో సిస్టమ్ 1 కి వస్తుంది. ఫోటో సిస్టమ్ 1 నుండి NADP+ కి పోతుంది. వెరస్ ఇన్ సైక్లిక్ ఫాస్ఫోరిలేషన్ ఏమవుతుంది? ఎలక్ట్రాన్ రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది, ప్రైమరీ యాక్సెప్టార్ దగ్గరికి చేరుకొని మళ్ళీ ఫెరిడాక్సిన్, ప్లాస్టోసయానిన్, సైటోక్రోమ్ కాంప్లెక్స్, ప్లాస్టోసయానిన్ నుండి ఎక్కడికి వచ్చేస్తాం? మళ్ళీ ఫోటో సిస్టమ్ 1 దగ్గరకు వచ్చేస్తుంది. దట్ ఈస్ సైక్లిక్. సో ఇన్ ద నేమ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ క్లియర్ టు యూ దట్ cyclic and non-cyclic electron transport లో the difference is main difference you understood. So children, I hope you understood the major thing, what is happening in this cyclic, what is happening in non-cyclic electron transport, what is happening in this photolysis of water, and then what is happening in this photophosphorylation. Children, please read this answer from your concern notes and from the materials which you are having, and please revise twice or thrice. Write the answer at least 2 or 3 times, because when you are writing once, it is as equal as learning the answer 3 times. So please learn this answer as much as you can, because it is one of the major important long answer in your syllabus. I hope you all understood, and for any doubts you can please post the question. Thank you so much students for listening this class. Thank you.